Hello, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are calling from. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. Apologize for being a few minutes late here, but we appreciate your patience. My name is Jim Spillane, and I'm the director of our public sector strategy for Sprint. And on behalf of Sprint, I want to thank all of you for being here today. And I want to say a special thank you to all of the first responders that are here today. We recognize just how difficult your job is and the risk that you face every day. And, we are so appreciative as an organization to the service that you give your communities, the cities, the states, and the country, in the country where you reside. And, we thank you for what you do every day. So we put this webinar together because over the past year, Sprint has really made a commitment to bringing on solutions that support our first responders. And you're going to hear from some of the partners that we're working with today, but it is a commitment that we believe is important and that will help you out in the field every day, will help you be safer in what you do. And as an example, one of the things that we did as an organization over the past year is we actually hired an active duty police officer who has been instrumental and very, very passionate about coming up with solutions that we believe will really help you every day. So again, thank you very much for attending today. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the agenda and let you know what we're going to cover. So we're going to start with, you're going to hear an overview of the solutions from our partners, and each of them will spend about 5 minutes or so, and they'll give you a high-level overview of the solution. The next thing we want to do is we wanted to have a roundtable discussion. We want to really focus in on what we are seeing as terms of hot topics that are out there. And our partners that'll be speaking today, they're out every day out in the field, and they're working with public safety employees around the country. And I think what they'll be able to talk to is very relevant in terms of the challenges that you're facing every day. And then we will have, throughout the session, we do have the ability, if you have questions, we'd like you to post them on the chat. We'll go through all the agenda information, all the presentation information, and then at the end of the call, we will make sure that we cover those questions. So Laura, if you can go to the next slide. Okay, so what you're going to hear today are 4 solutions that, again, we believe are really going to be helpful, not only in what you do every day, but we really think this can be life-saving, and depending on the scenario that you're in. So the 4 solutions that you'll hear in more detail. The first one, as you're going to hear, is a service that by a partner that we have, Select Engineering Services, called Automatic Injury Detection. And basically what automatic injury detection is it's a revolutionary service that can literally detect trauma or any kind of gunshot or stab impact to an officer's body armor, and it'll provide instant communication to a designated number of users that you decide. The second solution we're going to hear about is from another one of our partners, Columbia Tech, and they're going to talk about what we've deployed, the Sprint Secure Net, our mobile VPN, and basically what that service will provide you is a session persistence experience, which really will help you maintain the data session in a true mobile environment. The next partner that you will hear from is from Visual Labs, and you're going to hear this is really the first live body camera and live crime analytics solution to help see and prevent crime from happening, and it happens by utilizing your smartphone. And then the 4th solution we want to talk about is wireless priority service, and that is really the ability for us to provide first responders a priority in the time of crisis to ensure that you have priority voice access on the Sprint network. So if you go to the next slide, Laura, let me introduce our speakers, and then I'm going to hand it off to each of them. So we have Bob Ufer from Select Engineering Services is filling in for Ken. Ken got caught up. So Bob is the president of Select Engineering Services, and he's going to walk through the AID solution that we're going to cover. We have Tobias England, the CEO of Columbia Tech. We'll talk about our session persistence solution. We have Alex Popoff, the founder and CEO of Visual Labs, who will talk about the Visual Labs solution. And then we have Mark Haas from Sprint, one of our product managers, who will talk about the Sprint Priority Service. So with that, again, thank you for joining. I'd like to hand this over now to Bob from Select Engineering Services, and he's going to walk us through the AID solution. So Bob, I'll hand it to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim, and I'd like to thank everyone for also joining in on this webinar with us, and I think you're going to find it very enlightening. Laura, if you could go to the first slide, I'll go right into it there. Basically nowadays, Select Engineering Services became aware over the last several years of certain challenges to the law enforcement community. There have been, as everyone knows, an increasing number of attacks and fatal ambushes on law enforcement personnel. It's become a real war out there. These officers that are being attacked, and it's not as if they're even at a traffic stop where they may have called in a position. It's a true ambush, and officers become incapacitated when they're attacked and unable to communicate their location. They left out in the field there, and there have been many, many instances where folks have actually died because the other officers couldn't find them. And we also have a inability currently with the existing systems to know exactly what injuries have occurred to the officer. Our product can help with that. In addition, when an officer is in pursuit, it's a very fluid situation, shall we say, and people, if there's gunshots fired, people calling out incorrect locations, people don't know where the officer is. If witnesses are calling in at 911, they're basically getting a million different inputs from people which are incorrect. It also, what happens out there's a lack of officer situational awareness, meaning that exactly where is the location, where has the attack occurred, if the officer's in a foot pursuit, what direction is he pursuing in, if he's being shot at, he's reaching for his gun, and he cannot always communicate over his radio. So it makes it very, very difficult. And because of this current situation, there are often delays in getting EMS dispatched, not knowing exactly where the officer is. Now, Laura, would you next slide, please? And basically, the product we have developed, as Jim mentioned, is called AID Automatic Injury Detection. And it is basically a soft, flexible sensor panel that gets inserted to existing body armor into the carrier just in front of the ballistic material. It is very lightweight. Okay, there's a front and back to it. There's a front sensor and a rear sensor. It has a communications module, which is a Bluetooth communication module. The circuit is like a printed electrical grid. And basically what happens is that if it is penetrated, okay, it will automatically activate this communication module. And you can see there that basically what comes with the sensor panel is a free Android application which you can load onto your Sprint phone. And that is where the alert is sent to. And it will be able to send out notifications if anything 22 caliber or larger strikes that sensor panel and breaks the grid. And Laura, go to the next slide, please. Okay, and basically this gives a little better pictorial of what actually occurs. So when the officer is shot or stabbed, it doesn't matter if it's a stabbing, if he's shot, or it even could be shrapnel from an IED. It penetrates the panel, activates the communication sensor, and the location is transmitted to the cell phone, and it can simultaneously transmit it to all the other officers' radios who happen to be on that police network. And it also, the sensor panel can also open up the officer's cell phone microphone. So the people at the command center can listen in to the attack scene. They can actually hear what's going on. Very, very beneficial. Now, the information transmitted to the dispatch and other officers and to the cell phone There's an alert message that comes up which tells you the office ID. It can be a name, a badge number, or whatever. It doesn't matter, whatever folks want to designate. You'll see a little text message come through with his ID. It'll tell you the area of his injury, meaning that we have two sections on the front panel, upper and lower, and two sections on the back. If penetration occurs on the upper front panel, that will be so designated in the text message. It also provides you a link to a Google map, okay? And you press on that link, it'll show you the officer's exact location and GPS coordinates. Very easy for the other officers to know exactly where he is. It also will show up on the dispatch center screen, and they will be able to control the response from that point. Next slide, Laura. I believe we're going into a video here, which is going to show a little example of this. This is showing the insertion of the age sensor panel into the carrier. And now you're seeing actually, you saw the text message received. They clicked on the Google link, and the map it didn't show it in the slide. They cut it out too early, but the map showing his exact location comes up. And you can see in the closing slide here, one of our first customers was Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and they are very excited about the product. They are very concerned about officer safety, and Sheriff Hank Parton is a great proponent of this and has been promoting it. So, thank you very much. Okay, we do have a couple extra slides. I didn't realize we had this in there, but you can see how this can help sides, and it's the bullets listed there are ones that I've mentioned before. It activates communication at the moment of attack, sends near real-time GPS location of the injured officer. Again, as I said, it indicates the area of injury, opens up the mic so you can listen in again, and even if the officers are incapacitated, and this is very important, the officer could be totally knocked out. This is all automatic. Keeps him free to continue his pursuit or get on the radio, whatever he has to do, or return fire. So, and it helps launch EMS within seconds. In that video, you couldn't see it, but by the time that mannequin hit the ground, the alert was sent out and received by all the individuals. Unbelievable response time. Next.
Hey, Bob, this is Jim. I can go ahead, Bob.
Okay, here's it. Just came up for me, and here's some of the pricing for aid. You know, we do have a 5-year warranty on the system, and there is free software that comes with it. There are two different models. There is one for $350, and we're talking about a 1-unit price here. Quantity pricing is quite a bit less. That is for the cell laptop version, where the alert is sent just to the cell and laptop. There is a replaceable battery. For the dual mode communication option, for 1 unit it would be $499 or $490, and that sends the alert both to the cell and to the radio simultaneously. That contains a rechargeable battery, and it's a 2-year life, and you do get warnings if batteries are running low. Next.
And Bob, this is Jim. That was the last slide. So Bob, thank you very much for covering that.
Thank you.
That's been I've seen this solution live in demonstrations, and it's really fantastic. The key takeaway here from the pricing, and Bob covered the cost for this service, but because this is very important to Sprint, and we are trying to really help impact and help save save lives and help you out in the field every day. as a Sprint customer, as a new Sprint customer, Sprint will cover the cost of that vest. So we can talk to you more about that, but that's the commitment that we've made to the program. So the cost as a Sprint customer, the cost for the panel from Select Engineering Service would be covered from Sprint. So again, Bob, thank you very much for participating. We appreciate you walking through that. So the next presenter, I want to hand it over to Tobias from Columbia Tech, and Tobias is going to walk through the session persistence solution that they have developed. So Tobias, I will turn that over to you.
Thank you, Jim. This is Tobias with Columbia Tech, and we're here today to tell you a little bit about our Sprint Secure Net solution. It does two things in essence. We make sure that you stay connected at all times. We also make sure that your information and the data stays protected. So this is a mobile VPN solution which is unique in the sense that it can provide officers with a persistent connectivity experience. Moving through, different areas, driving or other circumstances can provide a challenge. So the challenges we see here as we are, increasingly using our mobile devices or laptops in the car, we need to access information. And accessing that information can also be a challenge sometimes. Those challenges we see here are just examples, but it's always about getting access to information, whether obtaining it about a vehicle or similar, or providing information back to the headquarters. Can we have the next slide, please? So this is a Sprint Secure Net is a mobile VPN software-only solution. So software meaning there is a client that can go on any Sprint device. It can run on iOS, Android, Windows, any device really that's out there today, and we make a point of providing new versions for whatever is coming out for our mobile devices. It's also residing on a network where it can be installed on anything Linux or Windows. So any device, any network can run our Sprint Secure Net solution. Next slide, please. So this is important. This is one of the differences. Persistence, so our definition of persistence means that, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're driving in a vehicle and you're downloading something. Maybe it's a 20 megabyte file, and as you've gone through 10 megabytes, suddenly there was something with the network. You changed maybe the tower or you moved in some way, so it was interrupted. Normally, that would mean you would have to start over. In our case, we have something we call transaction recovery. So as soon as we can find connectivity again, we make sure that the connection is secure, and then we continue from where it was left off. So that's a big difference, and it's proven very, very important for people working out in the field, and it is very much appreciated, and it's difficult to see for those who have used it a way of operating without it. Next slide, please. So with protection and security, what do we mean? Well, this is a mobile VPN. It contains a lot of encryption algorithms and so on, but on a higher level, it is compliant with CGIS. It was FIPS 140-2 validated, meaning people have looked at the source code to make sure it's implemented correctly. It also comes out of the box with strong authentication or advanced authentication, sometimes called two-factor authentication. It's important to point out it comes with this type of authentication. So there is no need for additional services or products, but it can also be integrated with others if there is a need for additional security or systems. It is designed and built for mobile. That's really some of the challenges that our company over the years have been looking at and trying to resolve. The end result is a robust user experience where you can focus on your job and not on IT or logging in constantly. Next slide, please. So we've tested this a lot out in the field. We cover multiple industries, but public safety is really important to us, and it really has been proven to be important also to all our law officers out there in the field every day. New Mexico is one example. They came to us a few years ago, said we have challenges in our geography. We're driving around, we're dropping out, we're looking at satellite. What can we do? All these networks are being built out. Sprint has an awesome network coming out now across the country, but there will always be challenges. This is the nature of wireless, and it's been proven very helpful, again, for, in particular, people who are mobile and move around a little bit. Next slide, please. So here's the offering. So to Jim's point earlier and to what Bob was saying, the commitment to public safety and its community is to provide our solution included with Sprint data subscriptions. So the mobile VPN is included. There are no extra hidden costs. There's no additions. It is completely included, and whatever a police department would need, they would get from us. It includes the two-factor authentication. Unlimited data means that you can, again, make sure you can use all this great technology. And we will cover the priority service a little bit later here on this call. You can also, as an option, use our solution with Sprint Data Link, which means really a dedicated range of IP addresses just for your organization. So I think we have one more slide, please, and we will cover a little bit about the pricing. So what is so great with this is that we have our solution normally priced, as you can see, about $15 to $20 per user per month, depending on how big an organization. With Sprint, the cost is $0. So in any bundle with Sprint, you can get our mobile VPN solution, which is called Sprint Secure Net. And that's what I had to say. Thank you.
Terrific. Tobias, thank you very much. It was very good. All right, so our next speaker, I'd like to turn it over to Alex, who will walk us through the Visual Lab solution. So Alex, I'll turn it over to you.
Sounds good, Jim. Everyone hopefully can hear me okay?
Yes.
So this first slide here, great. This first slide here, body cameras are in the news quite frequently, and sometimes in a positive light and sometimes in a negative light. But for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept of body cameras, some of the key motivations here are to be able to get that first-person account of what a police officer is seeing in their day-to-day lawful contacts. Especially when force is used, it's really important to maintain that public transparency and that trust to be able to have that first-person account. Especially in today's world where it seems like every citizen has their smartphone that they're using to record. It's important to have that the officer side. And so the main benefits of body cameras in general, whether it be with our system or any other system, is that reducing citizen complaints, limiting liability. But then one benefit of our system here is going to also be the officer safety and situational awareness components. So we'll get into that, and we'll move to the next slide. So at Visual Labs, we call ourselves the body camera company that does not make body cameras. And that's a head scratcher for a lot of people. For those of you maybe have heard of the Taser's Axon product or the V-View camera. And those are great standalone cameras, but at the end of the day, that's all they are, is a camera. And so because we're the body camera company that does not make body cameras, we actually use any Android smartphone as the body-worn camera. So a fully CJIS compliant end-to-end solution with the smartphone application acting as the body camera, and then the back-end website for video management, and as the picture shows, advanced analytics such as heat maps for location GPS data. If we have any county sheriffs on the call, especially for contract cities, to be able to do geofencing in conjunction with the body-worn camera video. And so at the end of the day here, this Android smartphone becomes your all-in-one device. So it's your smartphone, your body camera, your digital camera, your audio recorder, and also that personnel locator, so knowing where the officer is, which is extremely important. And then to emphasize here, that is the only device you need. So there's no Bluetooth, there's no routers, there's no pairing. That is your all-in-one connected device. And that's where the connectivity is so important here, because it allows for unique features that Jim mentioned off the top, most notably a live streaming option. So the live streaming aspect is the exception, not the norm. So a typical traffic stop is going to be recorded, but you have the option for a live stream. So imagine an active shooter situation, or the incident we had in Orlando, right, in June of 2016. Being able to get live video from the body camera in the field, as opposed to the typical record and dock at the end of the shift, is just a huge advantage of having a connected device, that single device that you have to carry. So the body camera with the GPS, and then one key pain point that we've been able to avoid that we hear all the time is the pain of docking stations. So a typical body camera, you record, you have all your traffic stops throughout the day, and then at the end of the shift, that is when that footage gets uploaded. But because of the connectivity that Sprint offers, you have that real-time upload of the incidents. And don't worry if for some reason you were out in the woods and maybe didn't have connectivity at the moment. As soon as you get back into the connectivity, that footage automatically uploads. So single device solution. To emphasize here, this picture, for those of you who are curious, that's one of the Kyocera smartphones, which is extremely popular with our clients because out of the box, it's rugged. It has that IP68 rating. The red button on the side is what's used to activate the camera. So again, people joke with us, hey, you're using smartphones. Does that mean they're holding the camera? No, not at all. It's hands-free, just like a typical body camera. Short press to turn it on and long press to turn it off. And again, but it's any Android phone. There are some limitations with iPhones, for example, that if a phone call comes in while you are recording, that recording stops. So that's obviously not an acceptable situation with the iOS products, but with Android, you've avoided that limitation, and the hardware choice is a great asset. But the Kyocera products have been some of the most favored devices by our clients. So we'll go to the next slide here for just a quick case study. So for those of you who are curious for more information, if you Google the Washington County, Minnesota Sheriff's Department, this was just a great case study because the sheriff said to us, hey, for 6 years, I've been looking for a single device that I can give to my officers, where the deputies were carrying around a personal phone and a digital camera and an audio recorder, and they were burning stuff to DVDs, and it was just getting out of control. And so Sheriff Hutton over at Washington County was saying, I would need to have this all-in-one solution. This was his vision for 6 years. It finally came to fruition with us. And as the quote indicates from Commander Ellickson, it's everything the sheriff wanted in one smartphone. So in terms of the functionality and cost, it was absolutely a no-brainer for them, and it's just been a huge success. So I think we'll conclude with the last slide, which is a nice segue on cost. Roughly speaking, we charge $50 per device per month, which includes the storage, the secure cloud storage. Some of our clients use Amazon Web Services. Others use the Microsoft Azure Government Cloud for that CJIS compliance. At volume, our price comes down, similar to some of the other solutions. And then as part of our arrangement with Sprint, if you sign up for a new line of service, Visual Labs will offer 6 months free of free software, including that storage. So again, certain restrictions with the exact plan, but one big benefit of choosing Sprint as opposed to another carrier. And looking forward to some of your questions, or feel free to reach out to me directly if you want to see a live demo.
Great.
That's all I got.
Alex.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So our last presenter will be Mark Haas from Sprint, and Mark is going to take a few minutes and walk through Sprint's wireless priority service. So Mark, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jim. Next slide. Specifically for first responders and emergency responders, and then there's other classifications of individuals and municipalities that can take advantage of wireless priority services. But specifically for the context of this conversation, the wireless priority service solution is available in situations where you do have an emergency need or a disaster that you are in the thick of. So wireless priority services is this feature that on our network that allows you to make calls during a congested time. Many times during an emergency situation or a disaster situation, you will find yourself, you could find yourself in a situation where several individuals could be making phone calls all at once. So WPS, a feature of our network, allows for that priority service to obviously to take control during that time in that event for you to key in a prefix in your phone and simply *272, and it allows your call to go through with priority. And we think that's key to your job and your role. So that is certainly what this program is all about. The program, a little background, is sponsored, developed by the Department of Homeland Security. They created the program in response to 9/11, Katrina, and other events, and knew that your jobs needed to, obviously needed to take priority in those times, in those situations. So it is, there are 5 classifications for first responders. You're likely in the 4th or 5th classification, but your calls, again, are going to be given priority during those times of disaster. There are other classifications that go all the way up to the executive branch where they may need this capability. So it is available to you. You do have to apply to the Department of Homeland Security. While we support it on our network, it is a membership process whereby you must submit your need, your desire to become part of the solution, and then we, Sprint, will work with DHS and the Office of Emergency Communications to make it happen for you. Next slide. I think I just want to summarize again, don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but to summarize, it is specifically designed for emergency responders, disaster recovery situations, so that you have this ability. Again, if you're interested, please sign up through the Department of Homeland Security. You can go onto their webpage and make your application. We as a provider, and we support this, again, this feature on our network, will respond as soon as we receive the information from DHS to turn up your service on our network, this feature on our network. So it works with any of our devices, our telephones. It's specifically a voice communication priority service, not a data, but a voice communication priority service. So it works with any of our handsets. You simply need to, again, make that membership application, and then we will turn up the solution for you. Next slide. And I think this is for you, Jim, so I'll let you wrap this up.
Well, thank you, Mark, for jumping on. And we're going to, before we move into, I want to open up, and I've got some questions for the presenters to provide some feedback on what they've seen. I want to thank the presenters for their time this morning. I will tell you, these are best-in-class partners we've been working with over the past several months and up to a year. And you heard a constant theme throughout each presentation, in that from a pricing perspective, our goal was to bundle this in and make this very easy for you. So providing these services and making them part of the monthly costs of the Sprint service, we really believe it's very cost effective, but we think it's going to really help make this a lot easier for you to get within your respective organization. So thank you again to Bob and to Tobias and to Alex and Mark for spending a few minutes to go through that. So let's go to we're a little bit behind time. I want to get into some questions from the group. So, as I mentioned early on, the team that we're working with are out in front of first responders like yourselves every day, and they are seeing the challenges and hearing the challenges that you all face in your job. So, and with these solutions in mind, this is what we developed to try to help you every day. So I wanted to have a roundtable discussion and let them share some of what they're hearing from similar organizations throughout the country. So I'll ask that some of them provide some feedback. So the first question I want to ask is, and I'll open this up to the three main presenters, is as you're meeting with agencies all around the country, what would you say is the #1 challenge they are encountering, and how does your particular solution help address that? So Bob, if I could hand that off to you, if you could just take a minute and explain what you're seeing there. You still there, Bob? I might be having some connection problem. Tobias, let me hand that off to you then. From your perspective from Columbia Tech, could you,
Sure.
What would you say is the #1 challenge you're seeing out there, and how the Columbia Tech solution can help address that?
Well, I think, Jim, what we see out there is, this is a big country. We have different states, and the challenges out there is very often, how do we, become compliant with this mandate called CGIS? What's needed? What do we need in terms of security? So that's always up on the table and can sometimes offer some confusion. But it's really, and the answer to that is, you really have to have advanced authentication of some sort. It's typically called two-factor. So we usually end up discussing that, and in our case, how we can help answering that challenge, and then also that the solution is validated with FIPS 140-2. So that's probably the #1 trigger. But the other one at the same time is, how can we get continuous access when we're driving around and trying to focus on our job and we have dropped connections, which happens in any scenario. It could be Wi-Fi, it could be the greatest LTE network on the world, but these things happen. That's the nature of the beast. So that's the #1 challenge for us.
Great, thank you.
Jim, this is Bob. I got reconnected if you want me to jump in there.
Yeah, Bob, if you could, I don't know if you heard
if
you heard the question.
I did. Basically, the offices that we have been meeting with, there's two different scenarios. We meet a lot of offices from agencies that are relatively small and operate in rural environments where help could be quite a distance away, and they have single-man patrols. And the same is true in urban environments. Basically, officers are operating in one-man patrols, and all the officers are concerned about being ambushed or attacked or drawn into an ambush and being injured. And these are instances, again, where they haven't been able to report their location. The dispatch center and the other officers do not know where they are, and they could very easily pass away because of people not knowing their location. And, that was a prime concern for us. So with our technology, we have shown them that they can get help instantaneously, basically automatically. They could be totally incapacitated, and our devices can send an alert out, as I previously described, to alert all the officers of his injury and their location. And they don't have to rely, even if the witnesses are around, on incorrect information reported by other individuals. No.
Great, thank you, Bob. And Alex, from your perspective?
Yeah, I think echoing what Bob just said, officer safety is clearly a big theme, especially when you think about the Dallas police incident. You know, there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. An ambush can come at any time. One interesting thing a client told me the other day is they were starting to experience technology fatigue. So there's all this cool technology out there, but people realize that, you know, the smartphone itself is extremely powerful, and so having the single device solution helps address that, as opposed to buying every bell and whistle as soon as it comes out of the market and pairing it and all that stuff. So the Sprint handset experience, the Sprint router experience, I think really just ties it in to help alleviate some of that fatigue by getting more and more applications on a single device.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. The other question I had for all of you is how have budget cuts or increases that are changing, or the changes in resources, how has that helped you, or how has your solution helped address those challenges?
Oh, Jim, this is Bob from Select Engineering Services. Again, one of the ways that the aid technology can help some of the larger agencies have been, because of the ambush situation and that had been occurring, they have been getting a tremendous amount of pressure for dual-man patrols, obviously. Not that it's, the aid technology, not that it will provide the additional support of an additional officer in a car, but from a budget standpoint, it will provide justification of a life-saving technology, and you can still incorporate that into a one-man patrol. So it does give the officers a sense of relief, shall we say, that they know that help could come to them if they are attacked, and they just won't be left out there with no support. So our technology has been recognized that it's capable of doing that, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Bob. And Alex, I'm curious from your perspective, how have budget cuts or increases changed the way that you solve for those challenges?
I think I'm probably starting to sound like a one-trick pony, but it's just such an important paradigm shift of using a device that you already have, or acquiring one to accomplish so many things. And so, kind of a quick story: we were working with an agency that flat out said, "We don't have the budget for body cameras, but I'm curious about what you're doing." They were in our presentation. They said, "Oh, actually, we have Samsung phones that are already activated. We've actually would consider changing our mind here because we didn't have the money to buy the hardware and the docking stations and the DVDs and all that stuff." And they actually got going with us relatively recently because they found that this solution was so affordable to them because they already had the requisite hardware. So just agencies are starting to become more creative, especially when there are budget cuts, and thinking outside the box. And you hear in the news about some horror stories of the body camera program cost X number of millions of dollars in terms of storage and docking stations and replacement cameras, and that's just not the case with our solution. And so I think the budget cuts force people to become more creative, and our solution really fits that bill.
So really just leveraging the resources that many of them already have in place.
Correct.
Yeah, that's great. Tobias, how about with the Sprint Secure Net? What have you seen?
Well, there's a couple of things, Jim. So one thing that strikes me as we talk right here and now is we get a lot of calls in and interest in our product. And I should say one of the things we've done differently, we don't make a difference. There's a lot of between the size of agencies. So there's a lot of smaller agencies out there trying to figure all this out with a lack of resources. So we really try to provide with both our experience and knowledge in terms of interpreting, the requirements. But also, we offer our solution for, it could be one officer, it could be 4,000. It doesn't make a difference to us. We think, or we know that this combined, everybody has to be able to use technology to to continue to serve. And then, similar to previous speakers here, yeah, we think it's a good idea to offer software that you can easily deploy and add to your existing conditions. So whatever you have out there, older laptops or thinking of buying new smartphones, whatever those are, whatever decisions you make there, we adhere to those. And then, of course, I should say, since with Sprint, you get our solution for free, which, again, I haven't heard about anybody out there who has a surplus of money to spend. It's always cutthroat decisions going on there. So we think, at least for our part, we can help a little bit.
Great, thank you. And Mark, what about with wireless priority service? How has, in terms of how we've positioned this, how Sprint's positioned this, how is this going to help address that?
That's a great question. In general, the Department of Homeland Security had hoped there would be a much greater adoption of wireless priority services. But in the development of their program, they allowed for 3 cost components: one-time activation fee, monthly cost feature, and then a per minute. So Sprint recently has decided not to charge for wireless priority services. So we do not charge for any of those components. If you are a Sprint subscriber, a customer of Sprint, and you choose to have WPS available, you will have it at no cost. You make your application again to the Department of Homeland Security, and then Sprint will turn on that feature for you, for your phone and for your service at no charge. So we have made some changes. We believe that one of the reasons why the adoption was so low nationwide is because different agencies did not understand or have the ability to budget this, because you don't know how many phone calls you're going to need to necessarily make in an emergency situation. So we have peeled all back that complexity by simply zeroing out our price point for WPS.
Great. Thank you, Mark. So we've got a few minutes left. I did want to see if we had some questions from the audience and want to make sure we get a chance to respond to those. So, Laura, can you tell me, do we have any questions for any of the presenters specifically that we could take at this point?
We do. So this question comes from Jim from St. Louis County Police. The question is, let's see, I think this one was for SES. So Bob, does the SES device work on Android only? Is there an only, or is there a iOS?
No, I understand what you're saying. No, it currently, right now, it works on Android only, but we are about 95% of basically finishing the development of the iOS app, and we are probably within the next 4 to 6 weeks we'll have that in place. So we'll work, to answer your question, we're both on iOS and Android, so it'll cover all those devices.
Okay, great. And another question, this one is for Alex, for Visual Labs. Does the body cam have a dash mount for in the car?
So we get that question a fair amount. This is just an off-the-shelf, non-proprietary smartphone. I think we actually might have some Kyocera folks on the phone, but I've seen quite a few accessories for various phones to be used as a dash camera, and the triggers are similar, that you can manually activate it or can be remotely activated by a supervisor. So generally our product's used as a body camera, but there have been instances where people have either used the phone as a dash camera or used the single device as a dash camera, and then when they leave the car to put it as a body camera. But it just 95% of the time it's usually going to be primarily the body camera, because you want it to be on your body so that you can send a text or make a phone call or do a records check on your phone. There's nothing that prohibits you from using the body camera and other aspects of the phone at the same time, which is pretty cool.
Okay, and then a follow-up, Alex, for you as well. Can you set triggers on the body cam to automatically start recording?
So one of the main triggers is the fact that it can be remotely turned on, as I mentioned. So someone with the right permissions can remotely trigger a recording. The feedback that we've gotten from the field actually has been that muscle memory is so important. So when an officer wants to record, they turn it on. When they're done, they turn it off. There was actually, I read an article a couple days ago, one of my colleagues passed along to me, that said a system had an automatic turn-on figure, an automatic turn-on trigger for certain situations, and because he entered some location, it actually captured him singing along to some Katy Perry song, I think it was. And so that was really embarrassing for him, and it was a problem because of the trigger. So, having that manual balanced with automatic is important, and we try to keep it simpler as opposed to bells and whistles in general.
Okay, thank you. And we do have a question for Tobias. What is the difference between Sprint SecureNet solution and other VPN solutions?
Thank you. So I think the most important difference is the ability to improve the connectivity. So we're never claiming that we would be, for instance, more secure than another VPN solution. This big difference is the way it works in a wireless environment, and as our solution makes it possible for a user to run its application on a Wi-Fi network, step out of there, walk into an LTE network and see no difference and not have to worry about a thing other than operating the application or obtaining the information. So it's really a focus on optimizing the data link, the way we transmit, the way we compress data. There's a whole range of little bit of a secret sauce there, but put in context, all those small things adds up and just make it a faster and more robust connection.
Okay, great. And we have a question for Mark. For WPS, when you say it's free, does the government tack on anything, or is it truly free with Sprint?
That's a great question. No, it is actually truly free. That is an interesting question. While you do make your application through the Department of Homeland Security, the fees that were chargeable and are still chargeable through the application of their program. Again, there's the one-time fee, monthly fee, and then the permanent charge. We, as the carrier that supports this feature, have chosen to waive all of those costs. So there is no cost. You will not see WPS usage charges on your Sprint bill for the device, the smartphone that you use. You will not see those charges.
Okay. Alex, we have another question for the body cam. The question is, can the body cam be triggered by the car lights?
So right now it's a standalone system where the body camera is manually, again, turned on or remotely turned on. I think there was actually another question here that talked about Bluetooth, and it said, hey, I don't trust Bluetooth. And that's really one of those things is if you have these automatic triggers from, for example, the car lights, they will work, say, 95% of the time. One gentleman told me, hey, my Bluetooth mic works 95% of the time. And that's really just not acceptable. Because you know that 5% when they're relying on the automatic trigger, the Bluetooth, and not the muscle memory, that's going to be, by Murphy's Law, the time when there's an officer-involved shooting or a use of force that's not captured on video. So time and time again, we're hearing from agencies that muscle memory of activating your camera is so important, and that comes down to a training and policy issue. Again, though, if somebody has forgotten to turn on their camera, the chief, the lead dispatcher, someone who's been authorized the permissions, can remotely turn it on. So that addresses that question, hopefully.
Okay, Alex, another question for you on storage. How much storage space does the $50 monthly fee allow?
So it becomes unlimited cloud storage within reason. I mean, our contract states that you're not going to be live streaming 24/7, but under normal use cases, it's unlimited.
Okay, and one more too. Does the vest tell you if it's connected to the phone? Oh wait, sorry, that was Bob. Sorry, that's for Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, question
yes,
for you.
It does. Yes, it does. There's a function when you, it's a pairing function, basically, and it automatically connects once it's set up. and it will tell you it's connected. It'll tell you your battery status, and it also gives you warning when you have to recharge or replace battery. So, yes, it does.
All right. And one last question before we wrap up here. Does the body cam interfere with PTT functionality? That would be for Alex,
oops, I was on mute. There we go. I was on mute. So in general, we've seen that the body camera is not used in conjunction with PTT because there's only one microphone. So if you're using the microphone to capture audio in conjunction with your body camera video, you can't also be transmitting to PTT. In the field, we've never seen that be an issue because most people are using their radios, your regular Motorola or Harris radios for vehicle stops, and PTT is more likely used for special operations, search and rescue, et cetera, when the body camera isn't as applicable.
All right, excellent. I think that's it for questions. And if we have any other questions, we'll make sure to follow up with you after the call. And Jim, you want to wrap us up here?
Yeah, great. Thank you, Laura. And again, thank you to Bob and Tobias and Alex and Mark. Appreciate the time today and the overview. And thank you again for everybody for attending. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. We would really like the opportunity to meet with you. We're hoping that there's some interest here in some or everything that we presented. So what we'd ask you to do is if you're interested in meeting with one of the public sector account managers throughout the country, you can certainly reach out directly to your PSAM. You can also go on the website that we are showing on the screen right now, sprint.com webinar follow-up. So again, I'd love to have a chance to talk to you about that and see how these solutions can help you every day. So again, thank you everyone for joining and have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.